Welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of the BBL Show, the place for all British Basketball League related news. I am Jay Marriott. He is Drew Lasker. What's new with you, Mr. Lasker?
Jay, do you remember the MJ flu game in 97 versus the Utah Jazz?
Know it very well. Yep.
That's the predicament that I'm in right now. I'm feeling really ill. This is the Drew Lasker Flu podcast. So the over-under is, can I survive this podcast without throwing up? My stomach is rumbling. My whole house has been sick all week, and I thought I escaped it, but I woke up this morning feeling really ill. And then on top of that, and I need our listeners out there, I need your help. I want you to go to the socials, and I want you to give me your best solutions for toddler sleeping, because my son is 13 months and every single night, like clockwork, 1 a.m., 3 a.m., he wakes up whining and crying, and I can't take it anymore. I cannot take it anymore. I know you guys think I got it figured out, but I cannot take it anymore. I just want one night to where I can sleep. But anyways, that's enough about me. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Jay, what's going on down there in Gloucester?
That is a dad in need, you know, super dad to the rescue, but
help.
I love it. But yeah, I mean, as you can see behind me, beautiful day here in Gloucester. We managed to have a preseason game over the weekend, which was fantastic. So got a chance to see the venue in full flow. I think we had about 150 people there for the Granger Cup, which was for Chairman John Granger, who passed away last year. So pretty emotional, and I think the girls played really well just to knock the rust off and get going. And yeah, Red and Rockets were great. Really, really glad they came up. You know, they're a great organization. So got that under our belt. Yeah, and then it's just like we always know, right, Drew Lasker? Back to the lab, right? Back to the lab. So quick podcast.
On board.
Yep, quick podcast, and then back to the notes and watching film. But anyway, do we have a guest for you today? None other than Team GB and new Manchester Giant Dan Clark. Having had extensive spells abroad, mostly in Spain, our prodigal son returns to the BBL. But first, our opening act, your social media spy. It's the Marriott Minute. Okay, off-season signings might be slowing up, but they are still creeping in. Our VC Dusha, a summer road trip guest, is staying in Plymouth, this time as a Patriot, staying in the Southwest to play with an all-British roster. Mark Loving is a Leicester rider, replacing William Lee, who has suddenly retired, which is so sad to hear. Loved him as a player. We wish him well for the future. And last but not least, interestingly not covered by the BBL socials yet, two big signings down at the Surrey Scorchers with Robert Gilchrist and Andrew Lawrence penning short-term deals. Let's hope that hasn't got Ryan Richards written all over it. Sorry, Ryan, had to say it. Europe called the London Lions, but they sadly failed to experience Italian outfit Treviso 89-62. But fear not, they are now headed into the FIBA Euro Cup competition and continue to fly the flag for the league. Blast from the recent past. Friend of the show, Tom Bonnet, got passionate about episode 2 guest Brett Berman's explanation on the lack of socials from the London Lions, who have fallen foul again to poor preparation through their European campaign, rightly pointing out that there seems to be an overall fan engagement disconnect right at a pivotal point in their history and the leagues. This seemed to resonate with many online, but I would think it was clear from episode 2 that Brett is more on the basketball operations side. So Tom, maybe come back to us, brother. All right, get rid of the wear beef and come and be a Lion. And lastly, we have seen some big showings of commitment from guests and fans' passion for their clubs, but Ben Murphy has smashed them all out of the water by tattooing the Cheshire Phoenix logo on his leg. Commitment at its highest order. Sir, we salute you. And that's this week's Marriott Minute. I'm always watching.
A lot there to unfold. Firstly, that tattoo. When I first saw it, the first thing that I thought was, you remember the Chester Jets? Better be careful. You might want to be a little bit careful there. But hey, bravo to that man. Yeah, you're a tat guy, so you can relate. I don't have any tats.
Well, what I will say is people have been calling out for him to be on the BBL show. Listen, if he gets a little Kappa sign just on the left-hand side of that Cheshire Phoenix, we'll get him on the show, okay? So, Ben, if you're listening, you heard the challenge.
Oh, yeah, come along. But let me ask you this, Jay. Obviously, you touched on it in the Marriott Minute, London getting bounced out of the Champions League. I didn't get an opportunity to watch it because I was in practice. Firstly, did you get a chance to watch the game?
A little bit, bits and pieces. Yeah. So
from the little that you saw, just quickly, just give us, or myself and the fans, just a little rundown of what you saw.
So I think, to be fair, a couple people that said some really good things about the game was Kieran Chara. I think Russell Levingston said the right thing. It's just building blocks. They're just going to have to learn. Size was a big issue there for them against Treviso. Their experience, they've been playing in that competition since like the 70s and 80s, so they know European competitions really well. And just being able to get into the depth of sets, right? You just can't get away with, we in this league, maybe we have a few sets that we run. There might be a flow motion. There might be something going on, but in the top level of European basketball, they are in their bag, and that kind of showed. And you just got to get used to that, right? You just got to get used to that. Know how you got to prepare for that. A multitude of sets is really hard to scout, right? That's something that they probably haven't. Had to come across. So again, another really good learning curve. But I hear the outcry of everyone. I just think it's a shame that they're just not covering more. I think Coach Vince was listening to episode 2. We love you, Coach Vince, because he jumped on a couple times, just to give us a little rundown and said it was only right for the fans to hear things going on, even when he was a little bit down after the game. But most people are with me. It's a learning curve. They go into the FIBA Euro Cup. I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, great learning experience for those guys. And I mentioned this before. This was the issue of them getting bounced out due to COVID last year. It's just the opportunity to go through it so they get that experience as an organization. So essentially, this is year one. And like you say, it's building blocks. But, you got to give kudos to them for trying. It's a lot of criticism out there to the London Lions, but at least they're out there trying. But
let them learn.
Yeah, well, let's move along and slide to the Lasker Lookback. In this episode of the Lasker Lookback, we dissect one of the biggest names in British basketball, Daniel Clark. Welcome to the British Basketball League, Dan. I have to wipe my eyes and make sure this isn't the late 1990s. Out of all teams, the Manchester Giants? Why not the Giants? A team full of vigor, homegrown talent, and an owner that oozes with enthusiasm. Just recently, sitting in a meeting with Jamie Edwards days prior to this bombshell announcement, it all makes sense why he was bursting. He had an ace in his back pocket. But it goes to show how much investing in a sleek website, comms, a great venue, professionalism, and selling the future matters. Manchester will never compare to Estudiantes, Zaragoza, shall I go on? But it's obvious that Dan is here to save the day. Not quite, but he's obviously ambitious about bringing the British Basketball League the attention that it deserves, and he's passionate about his country. The 6'10", 210-pound sniper left the country as a teenager, coming up through the Spanish junior ranks, building himself one hell of a career. But I'm sure Dan doesn't want us to look back. he wants us to look forward to the legacy he plans to leave here in the UK. Welcome home. And that is your Lasker Lookback.
And great look back, Mr. Lasker. Let's get Mr. GB in the room. Can you believe he is a BBL player? That's right. It's Dan Clark. Dan, welcome to the show, and thanks for making time to come and talk to us.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Dan? Thanks for coming on to the show. And again, it's very exciting news to have you here in the British Basketball League. And so welcome, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, again, thanks for having me on the show. And I'm really looking forward to the new BBL season. I'm glad to be here in Manchester. And it's exciting times.
Amazing. So, before we dive in, it's true, we're not talking to Dan about his European adventures. He is here in the BBL. I want to say personally, when I'm seeing exciting signings like yourself in this league, it's not just for the Giants, but the league can tap into your experiences. So, like, putting you on the spot slightly, what have you seen on your travels that the BBL can learn from, do you think?
Oof. I mean, that could be a very long answer, I think. But but yeah, obviously, I would admit I do follow the BBL. I have followed the BBL throughout my career. For whatever circumstances it's been, I haven't been able to watch many games and see many games. Obviously, saw like the final last year and things like that, and it does seem to have taken a big step in terms of the image it's trying to give out to the rest of the sporting world, not just the basketball world, but the sporting world. And it's trying to be an important sport in the UK, but I think also it has the potential to be an important sport as basketball is all around the world. Basketball, if you go outside of the UK, it's huge. You play in other countries in Europe and Spain and Greece and places like that, and there's football and then there's basketball. That's the two ways of life kind of thing. People are waiting for that Saturday or Sunday game. They're waiting all week for that game to come around and waiting for that opportunity to see their favourite players. And I think that's just the level we have to get to in the BBL and in the UK in general, really. There's a lot of things that can improve, but there's a lot of things that can improve in every league in the world, And I think the fact that it's on Sky Sports now on a regular basis is a big step forward. And I think that's something that, the BBL and the clubs have definitely got to build on.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of what motivated this move to the Giants, because we love Jamie. He's a guest. He's been a guest of ours on the show, but very new into the project. We see your name and we see it attached to the Manchester Giants. That's really intriguing for the league. So was it just kind of one thing? Was it a relationship, or was it a multitude of things? I've said for the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years, I'd love the opportunity to be able to play back in the BBL, back in the UK, in the right situation. People say I'm coming to the end of my career. It's still up for debate, really. But yeah, obviously I've known Lloyd for a number of years. Lloyd was the first point of contact. It started off as a bit of a joke, I'd say, like, would you come and play kind of thing, like, we've got this and we've got that and stuff like that. And then I had the opportunity to talk to Jamie, and as you know, Jamie's a extremely interesting guy, knows a lot about the sporting world, and having that bit of a basketball background, it was very, very interesting, not just for the basketball side of it, but what could happen off the court kind of thing. That was probably, obviously basketball was very important and the playing side is very important, but what the Giants are trying to do off the court, and in terms of culture, in terms of getting involved in the sporting city of Manchester, which obviously has 2 huge football teams, and getting involved in that whole sporting culture was very interesting, not just for my playing career, but for what could happen after that. Because as Drew knows, your basketball career only lasts so long. You have to work whatever 30, 40 years after that. So people and players, I think, have got to start thinking about this earlier. I know there are people within the basketball community in the UK that are trying to help people, like Kieran and people like that, trying to help players understand that. But it's a hard thing to accept, but it's the reality, and we've got to accept that at some point in time, our basketball career, comes to an end, and we have to keep on doing things, So I think it was also a good opportunity for me to, to start to understand what is, life outside basketball, in the real world, as they call it. And so that was one of the big sell factors as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you mentioned Kieran Achara, and Kieran has done a great job of flying the flag of, creating that awareness that, the game will end sometime sooner than later. And, Jay and I on the show, we try to be an advocate for that as well, that it's okay to start thinking about that next chapter simultaneously as you're playing. But you mentioned Jamie Edwards, and I mentioned this in Alaska Lookback. I was in a meeting with him about 2 days before this announcement was made that you were coming to the Manchester Giants. And I texted him right after it was made, and I said, it all makes sense, because he was in that meeting, just he couldn't contain himself. Like, he was so bubbly. And so it all makes sense. I would be too. Very exciting for him. But we had him on the show last season, and we all know that Jamie can talk. And we had to say, Jamie, this is a 60-minute show. Let's reel it in. So my question to you is, because I'm assuming the protocol, you mentioned it, you had to get on a phone call with Jamie Edwards. How long was that conversation?
I mean, I'm not going to get into all the conversations we've had, but the first one was 2 hours and 45 minutes. I was in Spain, which is basically where I live now, and I'd got up to work out pretty early, and Jamie said, would you mind jumping on the call at 8:00? And I said, yeah, fine, I'll talk to Jamie and I'll work out. I have time to do everything in the morning. That didn't happen, obviously. The morning was Jamie's as soon as I answered that call. So, but yeah, I mean, happy days. It was an extremely interesting call. And as you said, Jamie can talk, but yeah, it was a good talk. So I was happy he made the effort.
That's all love from us at the BBL Show, Jamie. We love the fact that he can go. But yeah, Dan, probably 2 hours 45. You got about 5 minutes in there, I reckon. So that's good. So
maybe he needs his own podcast, actually.
Yeah, we can fly that flag for Jamie as if he hasn't got enough on his plate already, and now he's got to keep Mr. GB happy as well. But yeah, get a podcast, Jamie. But
I think he's fine with the Giants. I think he's fine with it. He's got enough work.
Yeah. So what can we expect from this Giants this season? Great to see Lloyd confirmed. I mean, we all kind of assumed that was the case anyway with the way that the recruiting was going. I've always said I've been a big fan of Lloyd. I think he's a real coach, real X's and O's coach. Very good with his players, and obviously to tempt somebody like you back is just confirming that. So, what are the expectations on this team this year? Is it to build the culture, or is it more than that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely to build a culture, and I think the signings that they've made. I think we've got a very strong British core, which I think was another key selling point for me. I think British players should be the standouts in this league. They should be the most important players in this league. They should be the people that, they get recognised when basketball comes on TV. They should be, I want to watch Jamel Anderson. I want to watch Will Saunders or Josh Steele. That should be the baseline for the league. They should be promoting all these British players that are playing in the BBL. And the fact that the Giants had so many and such a strong core and experience in this league, then that was a big selling point. And I think making signings like that does straight away develops your culture. It makes a point that that if you want to come back to the UK and play, if you want to be on a successful British team, then Manchester is one of the places to be. It is Jamie and Lloyd especially are really looking to implode on the English player and make sure the English player is the main talking point, when it comes to the Giants and when it comes to the BBL. So yeah, I'm excited from that point of view when it comes to the British type of players and what we can do as a British core. Obviously, we've got what I believe is some good Americans coming in, some exciting Americans that I think will surprise some people in the league. So yeah, it's exciting times. You never know. I can tell you from experience, you never know how the season's going to go and how it's going to pan out. Because it's full of surprises. But I'm excited about what we can do. The people seem to be excited about what we can do. So hopefully we can put on a good show and get some wins.
Yeah, the league, the BBL seems to be getting more attractive for high-end Brits. And like you mentioned, moving forward, that's a good point that the league should be selling the British stars on graphics, television, etc. And so the league is moving in the right direction. We have a team in Europe for the last 2 years. Speaking of the London Lions, obviously they just got bounced out of the Champions League. yourself, you played at a very high level of Europe, arguably the best level when it comes to European basketball. I'm assuming that you watched a little bit of that game. If you did, from your optics, what did you see the London Lions are missing at this present time to compete on that level?
I mean, that's a very good question. The Lions obviously have a plan in place. Whether it's the right plan or the wrong plan is not for me to say. But yeah, I mean, it was quite clear the other day that they're a way off where they need to be and where I think they should be in terms of, you know, the people they're able to sign and the people they are signing. I think they're a long way off, not just the playing level, but I just think they're a long way off understanding where they are in terms of what the Champions League is and what European basketball is. You know, I think that's the first step they have to make, is they have to make a conscious decision to understand what that level of basketball means. It doesn't mean just putting a team together and throwing it out there and letting the guys play. You know, there's a whole process to that thing that, you know, you see a team from Treviso and you look at their team and you see like they had the Polish guy, number 24, and they had the Italian guy, and you look at them as an individual player and you think, oh, you know, he's this and he's that, but you straight away you think, oh, he's not athletic and he can't do this and he can't do that. But you know, there's thousands of players around Europe that are extremely effective in what they do. They might not be able to do everything, but that little thing they do, they're elite at. You know, and I think that's, you know, that was clear to see the other day. The Treviso team had a lot of players that were. I mean, you take away the big American guy Sims on the inside, and apart from that, I mean, they had a lot of players that were very good at one and maybe two things. You know, and for British players out there as well, young British players. I mean, if you want to make money in Europe, playing around Europe, be very, very, very good at one thing. You know, if you're very, very good at one thing, yeah, I mean, taking away specialists, you know, like shooters or whatever, but if you're very good defender, if you're a very good passer, you know, you're always going to find a spot on a team. You know, teams look for those little things that you can do, those little extra things, because at that level, everyone can play basketball. Everyone can play basketball to a basic level that you need to play in Europe, but if you're able to do that one thing very well, you know, you can make a career for yourself. And I think that's what, you know, the Lions haven't really got, you know, a lot of clarity on what they do and what they were doing and the roles and stuff like that. That was the impression it gave over on the TV the other day.
Yeah, just kind of jumping in. For me, my opinion on it is I feel like they're looking in the wrong direction. So we really enjoyed episode 2 with Brett Berman, and we know the investment is from Miami, but it feels very much the recruitment, the identity and the look has a very American feel to it. And very lack of understanding of what that European game is. And when we spoke to Vince last year, his opinion was that he thought that those two styles could clash, you know, and he'd be interested to see how, you know, if you came at it from a different angle. Do you think that's kind of fool's gold, or do you think that maybe that they're onto something and they could change the perception in that league?
I think that, yeah, 100% think they could be onto something. You know, there's never, nothing's ever worked without trying it first, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like they could be onto something, but I go back to my first point. I think they have to understand, you know, the level and the needs for that type of. Now, this is coming from the point of view that my understanding is their objective is to be successful in the Champions League. It might not be. It might be just to play like these qualification games and see what happens. But my understanding is they want to be successful in the Champions League and they want to make the group stages. You know, that's their first step. So yeah, I mean, could it work? Yeah, it definitely could work. You know, the G League obviously has got a lot of talented players, but around Europe, you will struggle to find a team that has more than one, you know, one rookie player from the G League on their team. You know, they may have one, yeah, but they won't have 2 or 3. So, you know, I think, you know, experience is a key thing in Europe, and it does help. So yeah, I mean, I really do hope that, you know, the Lions, obviously with the situation they have financially, you know, are able to make that step forward and take a step forward in terms of making a name for himself in Europe. But you looking at the game the other day, they're a long way off at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, we can't fault them for trying. And like you mentioned, it's all an experience, right? I mean, you haven't had a team in Britain play in that level, I mean, ever really. So, hopefully they'll get it figured out. And we are all cheering for them. When it comes to European competition, we're all London Lions fans. So this is just all constructive criticism for those guys. But let's transition into one of our new segments as we get to our closing, which is called Who Win and What the Hell. So, Dan, simple rules. I'll post a photograph up, and I just want you to describe the situation. You up for it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So the first one, which is who. So just take us back. Who's in this picture and just kind of describe the scenario here. So I'm going to share my screen with you here. This one right here.
This one? Okay, so there you've got me and a very good friend of mine. I'm not sure if you can guess who's who. So there's me. There's me and Drew Sullivan. We were lucky enough one day. I can't remember what year it was now, but it was with me and Drew used to be Nike athletes, and we had the opportunity one day to attend an England game at Wembley. And obviously, when you get invited to a game like that, you get introduced to a lot of interesting people, and amongst them was Raheem Sterling and Oxlade-Chamberlain. So it was a good day. It was a fun day, and just brought a few memories back.
Love it. They're not too bad, are they? Not too shabby.
No, they're all right. They do quite well.
Okay, so this next picture, I want you to take us back to when it was and what this moment means for you.
So this was back in Manchester. Funny enough, this was probably one of the proudest days of my career. I mean, I've made it very public that playing for GB is the best thing that I've done in my playing career, and to play 100 times is, it was unthinkable when I was 14 years old moving to Spain. I never thought I'd play over 100 times for GB, and it's a dream come true. Really. A dream come true.
Just out of interest as well, having a coach as a dad, does he? Are those game talks afterwards interesting, or does he leave you alone?
Nah, I mean, it's very hard to talk to my dad without talking about basketball. Very, very hard.
I love it.
I mean, we love it because we both love the sport so much that we love talking about it.
Yeah.
And my mum doesn't like it so much in terms of the amount that we talk about it. But there are a couple of times at the dinner table when she just tells us to shut up and talk about something.
I love it.
Too right. All right, the final picture here is, what the hell is this?
I mean, I'm gonna give you dues. That's a tough find. That photo was on lockdown for a number of years. That's a really tough find. So for those of you who don't know, the guy next to me is the most capped player in the history of GB basketball. It's the great Eric Boateng.
Yeah.
This was at the fitting for all our gear for the Olympics in 2012. Obviously, we went to Loughborough for a couple of days, and Adidas had everything set up there for us to try on to make sure everything looked spick and span when it came to games time. Me and Eric decided to try absolutely everything on that was in the store. So
where did the cowboy hat come into it, though? How did?
I'm not really sure about the cowboy hat, but I've got some other photos that we're wearing some questionable attire, to say the least. So, but yeah, I'm sure he's got that cowboy hat somewhere still. So,
great picture.
Awesome, man. We appreciate you playing with us.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. So anyway, listen, before we let you go, Dan, we've had enough of your time. We know you got practice and stuff, but we're asking you a very important question. We're asking every guest this question. If they made a story of your life and career, who are you picking to play you?
Ooh. Who am I picking to play me? Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. I'd probably pick a Spanish, like an English person with a bit of a funny Spanish accent. Yeah, it's a tough
Someone
one.
that's just good with accents.
Yeah, like a lanky European guy kind of thing. You know. I don't know. That's a really good question. Oof. I'm trying to think of like a tall actor that's, you know.
Yeah, now you got me thinking. I'm trying to think of a tall actor. Who's really tall?
Yeah.
Maybe the guy from Gladiator. What's his name?
Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe.
Holy cow, he's not tall.
Maybe it's the beard.
He could get the piece, yeah. Maybe like I don't know. I'm really struggling with this one.
We've got to get a good British actor a shout out here, haven't we? Like who can we have here?
I'd love to say like Daniel Craig and James Bond, but obviously that's not the like traveling around Europe solving crimes.
Yeah. We can get him some stilts, man. We could just make him a little bit taller. Yeah.
Let's go with Daniel Craig and James Bond. You know, he solves a few problems around Europe, and you know, I've been around Europe a few years, so we'll go with that.
I love it. That is it. That is great. By the way, cannot wait to watch that movie. But listen, Dan, thanks for your time. We're so excited to see you in the league. We'll let you get to practice, but look, good luck for the season, and thanks for coming on the show.
No, thanks for having me, guys. It's obviously a great show. I'm really happy to be part of it. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, mate.
Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Well, there you go, guys. Not just happy with being Mr. GB. He wanted to be James Bond as well. A lot of fun there with Dan. We'd love to have more time with these guests, but I think we're pretty spot on time nowadays with these podcasts. We got some good questions, but if there's anything else that you guys want to ask, then please put it in the socials. We're appreciating you checking in. We're getting ever closer to that nervy time where we've got to start those predictions, Mr. Lasker. But until then, we'll just keep these guests rolling. We've had some great guests to start up the season. So until then, Drew, lead us out.
It's here, guys. I mean, we went through the summer road trip. We've been in preseason mode. Even as a show, we're still trying to find our cadence, find our flow, get our stuff together. So we're in preseason mode as well. But beginning next week, it's the real deal, guys. We're 5 days away from the real deal. The regular season, the cup opens up on Friday. So really looking forward to it. Got a couple of games on the slate for the weekend. So we'll start posting this podcast on Tuesdays because we'll start switching our recordings to Sunday night because we want to make sure we get everything from the week covered. And let's enjoy this ride, guys. It's going to be a great, exciting season for the British Basketball League. But until then, next week, baby, on the show.
The show.